Okay, good morning. Today is Rosh Chodesh Adar Rishon, the first Adar, or as my brother would say, Adar Aleph. Today is the February 9th, and today's Shiur is generously sponsored by Adam and Sandy Schneider, commemorating for the yahrzeit of Sandy's father, Moshe ben Shimon, and for the shloshim of Adam's mother, Yehudis bas Avraham. Her neshama should have an aliyah. So we're going to learn in her merit today, commemorating her shloshim. Okay, in today's lesson, when a person is willing to give their life to serve Hashem, they will surely fulfill the commandments of the Torah and study the Torah. Think about it. If we're willing to give our lives to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, certainly we'd be willing to open up a chumash and learn a little bit. Certainly we'd be willing to perform a mitzvah. That seems easy compared to giving our life. But how come, sometimes we struggle with those things? Oh, give my life. Of course I give my life to Hashem. Doing a mitzvah? I don't know. Let me think about it. It's hard. I don't have time. No. So of course we're willing to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. Moshe Rabbeinu instituted the recitation of the Shema prayer twice daily, where Yid accepts the yoke of Hashem upon himself. So the Tanya has thus demonstrated how being aware of one's willingness to sacrifice his life for Hashem affects both the areas of Sur Meirah, turning away from evil, and Asay Tov, doing good, meaning the observance of the negative and positive commandments, respectively. So it follows that this awareness should constantly be on one's mind so that he will always be ready to apply it to his performance of mitzvahs. So here comes a mitzvah. First of all, if you don't want to do it, you think that's the Yetzer Hara. You got to push it away. And then, let me take the mitzvah, let me do it. It's an opportunity to Asay Tov, do good. In light of the above, it's understood why Moshe Rabbeinu, olav hashalom, commanded in Devarim, not in the earlier books, which were addressed to the generations of the Jews wandering in the desert, but to the generation that entered into Eretz Yisrael, that entered into the land, that they too, not just the previous generations, but they should recite Shema twice a day. The intention of Shema being the acknowledgement of the kingdom of heaven with self-sacrifice. That's the last words. Please put your phones on mute. That's the last word that you would say, the last words that would come out of a person's mouth upon nearing their end, right? Before a person passes away, you would say Shema Yisrael, hopefully in a peaceful manner, with a family standing around your person's bedside and being able to say the last words. But also, unfortunately, in times of battle as well, and in times of vicious attack as well, if the person feels like their life is in imminent danger and about to be snuffed out, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, for the self-sacrifice of it. Meaning the Shema teaches us to accept martyrdom for the sanctification of Hashem's name, Mesiras Nefesh. V'halo yivteach lahem pachtechem u'merachem yitein Hashem. Now one may ask, why is it necessary for our forefathers to prepare themselves for martyrdom? Had they not been promised that Hashem will lay the fear and dread of you upon all the inhabitants of the land? They had no reason to fear anyone. Nevertheless, they were well protected, and in this sense, they were well protected as Jews who traveled the desert with Moshe, who were not commanded to say Shema. Hashem's going to save them from all the enemies, and the enemies will be destroyed in front of them. So we must therefore conclude that the preparation of martyrdom is necessary, not only to assure that it will be put into practice if and when necessary, but so guys, today, are we worried about, okay, don't get all crazy on me if I say this, but if I ask you this a couple years, are we worried about people attacking us and killing us because we're Jewish? Maybe in certain areas, in certain countries. I don't think in West Orange. Do we have to be careful and not naive? Yeah, sure. But we're not worried walking down the street or coming to shul in the morning that somebody's going to kill us because we're a Jew. Okay, I understand the rise in anti-Semitism, but practically speaking, we're going to be okay. So what? Please put your phone on mute. Thank you. But so what is it for then? Why are we saying this Shema Yisrael with Mesiras Nefesh? Because the fulfillment of Torah and its commandments is contingent on one's being constantly aware of his readiness to surrender his life for the sake of God and his unity. When I do a mitzvah, maybe the situation doesn't present itself. Thank God I don't have to be ready and willing to give my physical life to Hashem. But I should be willing and ready in every sense of the word. So every time I say Shema, I say, okay, thank God that I don't have to give my life, but I'm ready and willing to do it should that ever arise. Meaning that a person remember that he's willing to sacrifice his life for the sake of God's unity if the situation would ever occur, which is the message contained in Shema. He must therefore recite twice daily, morning and evening, so that this awareness will be fixed permanently in his heart and will not depart from his memory day and night. Listen, maybe you could also think about, when we're saying these words, we could think about those soldiers, our brave men and women who are fighting on the front lines, literally protecting the safety and security of Eretz Yisrael, and are putting themselves on the line. And unfortunately, some of them are falling. So when they say the Shema, they are willing to give their lives for the sanctification of God's name, literally. So maybe we're not on the front lines in Khan Yunis, but maybe we're on the front lines of our own personal battles and our own demons and our own Yetzer Haras. I just heard from somebody yesterday who said that his wife doesn't want to continue living anymore. And he's trying to convince her that life is worth living because we can contribute, even though we're getting older and things are tough and challenging and whatever it is. I've heard this too many times recently. So those are some of the battles that we have to face. And Shema Yisrael, we should be willing to sacrifice our lives, not because it's too difficult and too challenging and we want to give up, but because we're ready to fight till our last breath for Hashem, pushing away the evil and taking upon ourselves every positive mitzvah, every opportunity that we can to make a positive impact in the world. So in this way, one is able to withstand this evil inclination, who's constantly trying to fight him. Don't forget, we talked about the battlefield, that we're all on our own personal battlefield. Even after Moshe's passing, whenever Jews are engaged in an intense struggle with the Yetzer Hara, it's written, Hashem says to Moshe, behold, you are about to sleep with your fathers, and this people will rise up and stray. Kinisker Il has explained above that when one remembers that he will be, when somebody thinks about this, he'll be prepared to suffer martyrdom for his love for Hashem and his belief in God's unity. When he thinks about this idea, this concept, this thought, he will surely be able to overcome his evil inclination and perform all the mitzvahs. All a person has to think is, if this person who I was speaking to yesterday about his wife, and he tells me, I say, sometimes you can compare yourself to what our forefathers went through, or what they're going through right now in Eretz Yisrael, or for what the Jewish people went through for generations. And you just say, what's the tzaras now? Whether it's money or health or children or situation or whatever it might be. When you put things into perspective, and also you look at the good and the positivity that you do have in your life, the children, the grandchildren, the friends, the loved ones, the community, then there's so much more you can contribute and there's so much more to live for. So when we recite the Shema twice daily, it's our opportunity to have the unity of Hashem ingrained in our minds and our hearts constantly. And this should give us the constant drive to overcome temptations and challenges. And when we say the words of Shema, we don't just say them, let's listen to them. Let them have a deep impact. And that will certainly change our mindset and allow us to, with joy and enthusiasm, push away the evil, accept the good. And as we enter into the month of Adar, we should be extra joyous. It doesn't say we should be joyous. We should increase our joy, which means that we're always joyous. And this year we have a double dose. We have a double dose. As we said yesterday, chazak, chazak. It's not just one chazak. It's a double dose of the month of Adar with the two Adars. So we have extra joy. If we increase in the first month, we have to double increase in the second month. And every single day, a Yid has to serve Hashem, Hashem BiSimcha. And hopefully with all of our joy, the evil will just melt away and we will be able to greet Mashiach Tzidkenu b'meheira b'yameinu mamash. Amen. Everyone have a good Shabbos and a good Chodesh and all the best. Thank you, Adam, for sponsoring today's Shiur. And